Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 7th of June, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 tumbled 1.5% today, finishing at 7,096 points after the Reserve Bank of Australia lifted the official cash rate by 50 basis points. The rise was higher than most economists forecast and, according to the Central Bank Governor Philip Lowe, necessary to get control of spiking prices, particularly energy. And he warned there are more rate rises on the way. So get ready to pay more for your mortgage. It was a very broad-based sell-off on the ASX today, with around 80% of stocks ending the day lower. Some sectors, like the big banks, normally do better when interest rates rise because they can expand their net interest margins. Not today. They were hammered. National Australia Bank finished more than 3% lower. Commonwealth Bank was down 2.6% and Westpac was off more than 2%. Macquarie Group fell 3%, while Wesfarmers was off nearly 4%. The worst performing sector was technology, led by WiseTech Global, which dropped more than 5%. Both Xero and REA Group were down more than 4%. The real estate sector, which is particularly sensitive to rates, also performed poorly, with market leader Goodman Group off 4%. And Zipco fell to its lowest level in 4 years, down another 13% today. Zipco's down almost 95% since its high in February last year. Why the slide? Buy now, pay later is losing favour, and especially those not making money, particularly given a bunch of banks and tech giants are entering the market. Story number 2, the lift in the official cash rate triggered a big jump in the Aussie dollar to back above 72 US cents. Short-term moves in currencies are very linked to interest rates, so when the Reserve Bank said it was going to lift rates more than anticipated, the currency appreciated. Also helping is soaring commodity prices. The Bloomberg Commodity Spot Index jumped 2% this morning. The index tracks 23 raw materials, and gas and wheat are leading the index higher. It's up 36% this year. That's good for the Aussie dollar. Story number 3, the value of private equity-backed mergers and acquisitions involving local companies hit a record $40 billion in the first 5 months of this year. A report by Refinitiv says 61 deals by private equity firms targeted Australian companies. The biggest, of course, was the $30 billion bid for Ramsay Health Care by a consortium led by US group KKR. Just shows there's plenty of mergers and acquisitions activity around, but also that investors are putting more and more money with private equity firms. According to the Financial Review, private equity firms have more money to invest now than ever before. Story number 4, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese continued his trip in Indonesia today, visiting Makassar, a financial centre in the country. It's the largest city in eastern Indonesia, and Mr. Albanese was at pains to say that Australia knew Indonesia was much more than Jakarta and Bali. He wants much greater investment by Australia into our northern neighbour. At the moment, Indonesia ranks just 13th on the list of countries Australia invests in. The Prime Minister wants that ranking to rise. Certainly this trip seems to be ticking all the right boxes. And story number 5, well, United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson can claim 3/5 of his Conservative parliamentary colleagues like him after winning a vote of no confidence in Parliament overnight. He's definitely a Teflon man, though the Partygate affair, whereby Johnson held and hosted parties at 10 Downing Street during COVID lockdowns, hasn't gone away. His critics can't call another no-confidence vote for a year. That gives him some breathing space. He said he now wants to put the issue behind him and focus on the cost of living, the war in Ukraine, and getting the UK economy flowing again. I don't think the public's going to let him do that. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 7th of June, 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Wednesday Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.